with its 360-degree mezzanine, has hosted many private parties, catered diners, and even an actual wedding. Please contact Andy at 704-252-1886 for more information. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to the Scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen. 844 Studio 4. That's 844-788-3464. Boy, do we have a fun one in store for you here today. For the next hour, we're going to be talking about your local sports, regional sports, national sports, high school level, all the way up to the pros. A lot of different things going on. Yesterday, we had a wonderful interview with Pine Lake Prep Volleyball head coach, Coach Polk, and a couple of players over there. Peyton and Phoenix were joining us to talk about their run into the state playoffs, which begin today. Yes, today we have high school volleyball playoffs going on. First round of the playoffs. I'm going to go over some of these brackets here, let you know who in our area is going to be competing for a national championship. Tell you what, we do have some good schools in our area that are going to be in competition. Hopefully they're able to get some wins here, move through the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe we have a state champion somewhere in our local area here on the volleyball scene. Don't think I haven't forgotten about football. I promise you I have not forgotten about the high school football scene. It's just, we still have a few weeks until we get to the playoffs. We've been talking about that pretty much every day. Your same schools are the ones in contention here. Statesville, South Iredell, Mooresville, Lake Norman, those are the main schools in the area that have been having a great year. Obviously, you go a little bit farther south, Lake Norman Charter, Huff High School, some of those schools having good years as well. We are going to get back into the football side of things a little bit later on in the week as we progress here because we have playoffs to talk about in our immediate future. So we got high school volleyball. Women's volleyball is going to be on a docket today. We didn't spend much time on it yesterday, but on the subject of a national sport, NASCAR. The NASCAR Cup Series was at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway on Sunday. Joey Logano getting the win. Another thing we didn't talk about from the weekend, the WNBA championship game number 5. It was a best of 5 series. Game number 5 went into overtime. The New York Liberty were able to get the championship, their first championship in the WNBA, and I will say it could be the start of some pretty dominating New York sports teams here. We do have one of those New York sports teams in the World Series. The Yankees were able to defeat the Guardians over the weekend. We'll start previewing the World Series coming up, but there's not too much to go over right now. The series have now ended. We wait until Friday. Things are going to start off in LA, in Los Angeles. The Dodgers will be hosting games 1 and 2. New York Yankees get games 3, 4, and 5. And if we need 6 and 7, we'll go back to LA for those games. We also didn't touch much on the NFL. I do want to get into the weekend, some big games from the weekend. A few good games last night as well. Some big ones. The bigger of the two games, and the more important of the two, I would say, was the Ravens and the Buccaneers. We had some injuries in that one. Unfortunately, the Buccaneers, man, I liked them at the beginning of the year. That offense is starting to get hurt, unfortunately. You lose Mike Evans, you lose Chris Godwin, all in the same game. The Ravens end up defeating the Buccaneers in that game. Final score 41-31. Then you had the Chargers and the Cardinals going at it in an NFC West matchup there. The Chargers, I don't know what's going on with the Chargers, man. You have Justin Herbert there, and all you can do is kick field goals for an entire game. Yeah, it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good on the resume there if you're Coach Harbaugh. And remember, Coach Harbaugh, man, you got to have success. If you lose this job and you can't get another NFL job, you're not going back to college for quite a few years. They put that penalty upon him where he can't coach for a certain amount of years. I forget how many it was off the top of my head, but it's just something to keep an eye on. I don't know if Harbaugh is going to lose his job in year one, but you know they got to win some games, the Chargers. We also have some NHL action tonight. The Frozen Frenzy is back. Do you remember the Frozen Frenzy from last year? Last year, ESPN Plus, they did this thing where they did the NHL Red Zone, basically. Every single NHL team is in action today, all 32. We have 16 games, and all 16 games are separated by a start time of 15 minutes. Not a single two games are starting at the same time. Every game is spread out tonight in the NHL. So if you're interested in hockey, the Frozen Frenzy is going to be going on. Find that on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, somewhere on ESPN. If you're a big fan of hockey, 16 games tonight, man. That is full swing. Another thing going on, there's so much happening in the world of sports. This is why I think October is the best month for sports. We have the NBA tip-off coming up tonight. The Celtics are going to raise their championship banner up to the rafters. Their 18th championship in the NBA, the most of any team in the NBA, as they broke the tie with the Lakers when they won their championship last year. Well, I guess last season. It was at the beginning of this year, like springtime. So we got quite a few things to talk about. And also, don't forget, college football is going on as well. There were some really important games. The SEC does not have a single unbeaten team remaining, which I think is going to mix things up even more. Because, you know, if you win that conference championship and you're one of the 5 highest-ranked conference champions, you go to the playoffs. No matter where you're ranked, you just have to be the top 5 conference champion. It's going to get crazy as we get to the end of the year here. Alabama already has 2 losses. Georgia with a nice win over Tennessee. Over Texas. You had Tennessee beating Alabama, which was a big one. Don't count out Clemson. I know we talked about them at the beginning of the year, like, hey, what's going on with Clemson? Well, they're starting to win again. Yeah, they're getting up there in the rankings. We got a lot to get through today on the scoreboard. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. If you have something you want to chat with me about, I'm here for the next, we'll call it 45 minutes. We're heading to our first break of the day. When we come back, we're going to go over this high school volleyball playoff brackets for 1A, 2A, 3A, and obviously 4A. Got a good one in store for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
More of Sports Director Joe Berg's The Scoreboard is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
More dry weather, but beautiful weather on the way as we go throughout the rest of our work week. Plenty of sunshine, high temperatures in the upper 70s around the lake this afternoon, falling back into the upper 40s near 50 overnight, and a little closer to 80 as we get into our Wednesday. We do get a little bit of cooler weather on the way, and we only drop back into the low to mid 70s for Thursday and into Friday, but an even bigger cool down on the way by the end of the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like ISI Denver.
cupcakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
The Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at southernChristmasShow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents the Live Under the Oaks season finale on Friday. This free outdoor concert series comes to a close with a Kids in America performance at 6 p.m. powered by Waves Entertainment. Grab your lawn chairs and your friends for the Live Under the Oaks season finale Friday night at Brookdale Village. Sunday is the annual Boo Fest at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville. Put on your Halloween costume and enjoy the party with a live concert by Alice Cooper tribute band Love It to Death. Ghostface will be serving up cold brews, their delicious kitchen will be open with a full menu, and Beer Lab will have mixed drinks. Spend Sunday at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville for the Boo Fest Halloween party. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals on the 6th of November through the 9th. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series for 4 days of action to decide their championships, featuring the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Single day and 4-day ticket packages and camping information are all available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. Often imitated, never duplicated. The World of Outlaws World Finals invade the Charlotte Motor Speedway Dirt Track in November. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
Quality Car Care is your local Toyota specialist and a licensed NC inspection station. Plus, find a huge selection of quality pre-owned cars at QualityCarCareStatesville.com or call 704-871-2535.
It ain't easy being number one.
But we make it look good.
WSIC.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And we are back here on the Scoreboard. Hope everybody's doing well today. Happy Tuesday to everybody, as today is a very good day. We went to that commercial break and I said we were going to come back and talk about volleyball. I do want to let everybody know I have moved. If you're listening here on our radio, 105.9 or 100.7 FM, I got some reports that it wasn't sounding all that great on my microphone, so I just moved to a new seat here. Hopefully, things sound a little bit better for you. What I will say, though, is if you do want to call in today, we probably won't be able to do that, as I'm still trying to rearrange things over here. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to make sure everybody hears me very well. All right. We got it figured out here. All right. How's everyone doing? Welcome back. Second segment here on the Scoreboard on this Tuesday. I am now sitting down in a different microphone. Hopefully everything sounds better for you. Now, I will say it once more, if you are trying to call in, unfortunately, I won't be able to take your phone calls now, but you'll be able to listen to me, which is just as good. We're going to get into some volleyball, high school volleyball. Remember yesterday we talked to Pine Lake head coach and a couple of players. Peyton and Phoenix were able to join us on the air along with Coach Polk. And we talked about the season that Pine Lake had, playoffs coming up. How do you kind of differentiate between what happened in the regular season, going through the conference tournament, and now into the playoffs? Everything there is a lot different. You know, the mindset, the game itself, it is going to change as you get to playoffs. Now, the playoffs begin in the 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A divisions of high school volleyball. We're going to get into things starting with the 1A conference here. some schools that are in our area who are going to be competing. Starting with Christ the King High School in the 1A over in Huntersville. Christ the King 16-8 on the regular season. They draw a 6 seed in the 1A conference. They'll be taking on South Stanley later on tonight at 6 p.m. Another school in our area, a little bit farther than our backyard, but I'd still consider them to be in our area. And that'd be South Davidson High School. South Davidson's over in Denton, North Carolina. They got the 1 seed Cherokee High School, man. That's going to be a tough bid over in Cherokee, North Carolina. 1 versus 32. We've seen it happen before with a 1 beating a 32, but, you never know. It is a tough matchup there. One other school in this 1A conference that's in our area that's going to be participating in the 1A playoffs is Cherryville High School out in Cherryville, North Carolina. 16-7 on the year. Cherryville drew the 18 seed. They take on number 15, Bishop McGuinness. Let's move right along into this 2A conference, shall we? Because we do want to talk about Pine Lake Prep. We talked about it yesterday with them taking on Patton High School. That game is going to be later tonight, 6 p.m. at Pine Lake's home stadium. So if you're interested in heading out there to support the Pine Lake program, that game is going to begin at 6 o'clock tonight. Some other schools in the area in 2A that are going to be participating in these playoffs. We'll go to Lincoln Charter out in Denver, North Carolina, on the other side of the lake, if you will. Lincoln Charter had an okay year. They were 9-14 on the year, did okay in the conference at a 5-8 record. And they didn't really fare all that well in the conference playoff, losing in round 1 to Mountain Island Charter. But Lincoln Charter, they make the dance. Unfortunately, they're a 32 seed, and when you're the 32 seed, that means you have to play the toughest team in the division here. They'll play the number 1 seed in the 2A bracket, McMichael High School. Now, if you're not familiar, McMichael High School over in Mayodan, North Carolina. I probably did not say that correctly. Just throwing it out there. But McMichael High School, the McMichael Phoenix, taking on Lincoln Charter. Another school in this 2A bracket that's in our area that we want to make sure we shout out is the Community School of Davidson, the rival of Pine Lake, if you will. Now, they drew a better seed than Pine Lake, had a better overall record and a better conference record, but they did lose that championship game. And we learned yesterday that it's not technically the I'm going to call them the conference champions. They won the tournament. They won the game against CSD, right? So CSD is the 7 seed. They will be playing tonight at 7 o'clock, taking on Salisbury High School. That is our first round matchup. It's a 7 versus a 26 here in the 2A conference. In the 3A, we're getting to some of these bigger schools here. Hickory High School, one that we always keep an eye on. They went 20-3 in the regular season. 12-2 in the conference, and they're ranked 28th in the state of North Carolina, but they drew a 12 seed. With that 12 seed, they'll be taking on St. Stephen's High School tonight at 6 o'clock for round 1. With that draw of a 12 seed for Hickory, they have a pretty decent path here to move on in these playoffs. I would expect Hickory to put up a good fight. They are a very good they have very good sports programs over there. We talked about the football team last year winning a state championship. They're having a great year again this year. So it's not out of the question that Hickory High School can make a run and have a really good playoff. Another school in the area, Lake Norman Charter. Lake Norman Charter's girls volleyball team went 20-2 on the year, having one of their best years ever. They did not win their most recent game against Carson High School, though. That is something to keep in mind as you go through the Southern Piedmont 3A conference. They end up 15-1 in the conference with that loss to Carson High School. They'll take on South Point High School moving along here in these playoffs. Now, I will say for Hickory High School, for Lake Norman Charter, a 10 seed, another one that got a really good draw, and they're going to have a chance to move through these playoffs. The thing is, in a couple of weeks, if they keep winning, they're going to end up playing North Iredell High School. And we've talked about them, 24-2 overall on the year, undefeated in the conference in volleyball, and they were the 9th ranked team in the state of North Carolina, according to Max Preps. North Iredell is going to be the team to beat, in my opinion. Now, I know they're the 2 seed, and I know West Henderson is the 1 seed. They went 20-2 as well, but I just think North Iredell, man, something about the way they went through their conference. I think they're going to move through these playoffs and at least get to the regionals. You know, you get to the regional finals, then you get to the state championship game. That's the Final Four. I think they can at least progress that far. So it is nice to see some schools in the area like North Iredell, Lake Norman Charter, Hickory High School, all going to be competing in some playoffs here in the 3A bracket. Last but not least, we got to talk about those big schools, you know, the big schools like Morven Ridge, Myers Park, North Mecklenburg. One school in our area, that 4A conference, is Huff High School. Huff High School drew a 5 seed after a 22-6 regular season and an undefeated run through their conference, that being the Queen City 3A 4A conference for Huff High School. So they draw the 6 seed moving through these playoffs. They'll be taking on Southeast Guilford High School, who is the 28 seed here in the playoffs. South Iredell drew a 14 seed. They had a very good year. Well, they had a pretty good year, I'd say, in volleyball this year. 17-10 overall. 3rd in the conference with an 8-4 record. Now, they did have a good conference playoff, I'll say. They lost the championship, unfortunately, to Cox Mill High School, which we kind of expected. They had a really good team, but they beat Lake Norman, which was huge in my opinion. Beating Lake Norman, who went 17-3 on the year, 19th ranked team in the state of North Carolina, that was a big game. So South Iredell, number 14, will be taking on Hickory Ridge High School, number 19. Speaking of Lake Norman, they end up drawing the 10 seed in these 4A playoffs, taking on Alexander Central later on tonight. If Lake Norman wins, they have a chance to play Mooresville High School in the playoffs. Yes, they do, because Mooresville is a 26 seed playing 7 seed Watauga High School. If Mooresville and Lake Norman win their games, they get to meet in round 2 of these playoffs. Lake Norman would be the home team with the better record and the better position here in the standings. That could be a really good game if we end up getting it. But Mooresville and Lake Norman both have to take care of business later on tonight. And one more school we want to talk about, that's the team that won that conference. Cox Mill High School drew a 2 seed here in the playoffs. They'll be taking on number 31, South Caldwell High School, at 6 p.m. tonight. All of these volleyball games for round number 1 are going on today. So if you have somebody you know who is playing volleyball in high school and they're in the playoffs, they're playing today. So get out there and support all of your local schools. I know I'm going to be covering all of this as we move through the playoffs. So tomorrow we'll talk about who won in round number 1. Back after this.
More dry weather, but beautiful weather on the way as we go throughout the rest of our work week. Plenty of sunshine, high temperatures in the upper 70s around the lake this afternoon, falling back into the upper 40s near 50 overnight, and a little closer to 80 as we get into our Wednesday. We do get a little bit of cooler weather on the way, and we only drop back into the low to mid 70s for Thursday and into Friday, but an even bigger cool down on the way by the end of the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Rev up your dreams with a bike from Tilly Harley-Davidson. Whether you're new to Harley or a seasoned pro, Tilly has the bike for you. Come experience the freedom of the ride. Feel the thrill of the road and the thunder that only a Harley can provide. Stop by Tilly Harley-Davidson of Statesville or go to tillyhd.com.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshlawFirm.com.
Have you taken the Desco Challenge? Desco is where the professional goes for electrical supplies.
My name is Ashley. I just redid the lighting in my home, and the customer experience at Desco was second to none.
See for yourself at descoinc.com.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce. If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. Call now at 800-810-2191. 800-810-2191. 800-810-2191. That's 800-810-2191.
I'm Bryce Johnson with this Unpacking It Sports and Faith Minute. Over the years, wide receivers and tight ends in football have compared themselves to the convenience store 7-Eleven because they claim they are always open when running routes. In our own lives, always being open for God to use us for His purposes is even more important than a receiver being ready to catch a pass. God utilizes us when we live with a desire to be open to His leading and guidance in our day-to-day activities. The Bible encourages us to walk habitually in the Holy Spirit, seek Him, and be responsive to His guidance. Not only do our hearts need to be open to the Spirit's leading, but our minds, eyes, and hands as well. When these are always open, we experience blessings as God works in and through us to bring glory to Himself. Today, like 7-Eleven and star wide receivers, let's always be open. I'm Bryce Johnson, and you can unpack that. For more, go to unpackingit.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. McDonald's is being asked to justify to lawmakers why it's raised prices by more than 40% in the past 5 years. In a letter to the chain's CEO, Democratic senators accused the fast food chain of price hikes that have outpaced inflationary pressures and input costs. They cite McDonald's net profit margins increased from 26% in 2020 to 33% in 2023, and they're still rising. McDonald's says it does offer affordable meals, including a $5 bundle. Fewer of us feel the need to upgrade our smartphones. Verizon says we're keeping our old phones for more than 40 months on average, and that did not change for Verizon last quarter, even with the rollout of the new AI-capable iPhone 16. Stock in Verizon today fell 5%. Modest movement today on Wall Street. The Dow was down 7 points, just a fraction. The S&P lost 3, also a fraction. The Nasdaq actually rose 33, or a 10%. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Scoreboard. 844-STUDIO-4 is the phone number, and yes, we can take your phone calls if you have something on your mind. Now, I moved my seat here. I am in a different location. hopefully sounding better to all of you out there in Radio Land. We want to get into some more things here in the world of sports. We just finished going over the 1 through 4A high school varsity volleyball playoff brackets. The volleyball playoffs begin today. Round 1, game 1 of the playoffs for a lot of these schools. Tomorrow, we're going to go over that first round, let you know who advanced. Hopefully, a lot of schools in the area. We went through a lot of them today. We do have a good amount of schools in the area who are going to be in the playoffs. I'm hoping that we see some state championships in the area. It'd be great if the greater Lake Norman area could just start dominating some sports. That would be awesome. We got other things on our mind, though. I want to get into some NASCAR news. And this one, not necessarily NASCAR, but NASCAR related. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Budweiser are set for an iconic reunion, as Dale Jr. will be driving the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet in his late model stock car races in 2024 and 2025. The scheme makes its return to the track for the first time in 17 years, November 23rd, when Earnhardt competes in the South Carolina 400 at Florence Motor Speedway. In addition to that infamous red and black paint scheme, the number 8 will be stylized like it used to be from 1999 through 2007. This is great, in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't really matter for NASCAR all that much, but it does in the grand scheme of things, because we all know the story with Teresa Earnhardt and the trademark that she had over DEI and the stylization and the fonts and the schemes and all that stuff. Well, even to the point where when Dale Jr. was running his final year in the Cup Series, they put a commercial out with the number 8 red Budweiser car, but they never really showed the number of the car. They just kept showing shots of the car. And you knew, if you're a NASCAR fan, you knew it was Dale Jr.'s number 8 Budweiser car, but you couldn't tell. They had to work around all of the loopholes that they had because they didn't own the trademark for the number. Well, the trademark expired earlier in the year. It was not renewed, and Dale Jr. is taking full advantage of that, as he is going to be piloting that number 8 Budweiser car at the South Carolina 400 at Florence Motor Speedway. That'll be fun. I'm excited to see some video from that, to see how many people show up, because honestly, I heard all about these late model races that were going on at North Wilkesboro. This was last weekend. And I looked into it. I looked at some video, watched a few of the highlights, and the first thing that I thought was nobody came. Nobody showed up. Like, there were pockets of 5 people here, 3 people here, but it was okay. It was all right. Anyway, let's get back into the actual NASCAR season. Man, does it stink. And I said this at the beginning of the year. You cannot just say that it's a good year because we had the closest finish in NASCAR history. Because we had 3 photo finishes in the first however many weeks of the year. You can't decide that a season is good because of how the last lap goes. And perfect example is the entire 2024 NASCAR season. It has been a pain to watch some of these races. Very few passes for the lead. Nobody can really do anything because, well, they're junk, the race cars. And now we got to deal with the Joey Logano win. And this is why NASCAR is no longer taken seriously. Not because Joey Logano won. No, don't think I'm going there. But because Joey Logano has, going into Las Vegas, had 5 top 5s on the season. 5 top 5s. And now he's going to be racing for a championship. 15th in the regular season standings. And he's going to be racing for a championship. 1 win on the year because he got lucky and was able to stretch his fuel for 120 laps or something insane like that. How does the 22 always get such good fuel mileage? That's what I want to know. It's been a bad year for NASCAR. The competition is okay. The racing is just bleh. I would say I'm excited for Homestead at this point, but we're not seeing good racing. And I don't even want to think about Martinsville coming up in a couple of weeks, one of the greatest tracks in NASCAR, and it doesn't produce racing that we're used to because the next gen car it can't go short track racing. But anyway, this is what we have to deal with. We have to deal with Joey Logano, who will be in the Championship 4, who definitely doesn't deserve to be there this year, even though it's an even year. I know all the theories about Logano even year championship bid. There were some other things that happened during this race that I thought were interesting that may have gotten overshadowed. Did you guys see Tyler Reddick? Oh my goodness. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Do we expect an extreme overreaction from NASCAR? We had a car flip over at Las Vegas. Barely. We've had so many cars upside down this year. In the past, let's go all the way back to just Daytona last year with Ryan Preece, right? That happened. Then this year at Daytona, you had 2 cars going upside down. It was the 34 car and the 4 car both went upside down in 2 completely separate accidents. Now you have a car flip at Michigan earlier in the year, Corey LaJoie, and now we had one use the quarter-mile track on the infield as a ramp, and it flipped his car. We've seen cars get air off of these, infield circuits, quarter miles, backstretch road courses at some of them. It used to be like Daytona used to have it really bad. The backstretch, right where that chicane was on the backstretch of Daytona, the cars would get air. I remember Marcos Ambrose getting some serious air down the backstretch at Daytona. But this happened at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Are we expecting an overreaction from NASCAR because another car went upside down? I think maybe we will see an overreaction. I do. I have very little faith in NASCAR right now. I do. We had the Homestead Miami Speedway this weekend. The trucks, the Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series will all be in action. We will have Truck Series, the Craftsman Truck Series, practice and qualifying, and the Xfinity Series practice and qualifying on Friday. Now on Saturday, you will have some jam-packed action at Homestead Miami. Practice and qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series on Saturday is going to be at 9 o'clock and then at 9:50. Very early in the morning. At noon, it'll be the Baptist Health 200 for the Craftsman Truck Series. And then at 3:30, immediately following that truck race, it'll be the NASCAR Xfinity Series for the Credit One NASCAR Amex Credit 300. And then on Sunday, well, you know what happens on Sunday. The NASCAR Cup Series goes on to the track for the Straight Talk Wireless 400 from Homestead at Miami Speedway. Looking at the point standings really quick before we go into our final break, Joey Logano has clinched his way into the Championship 4. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, and William Byron are the next 4 drivers in points. And the first 4 out are Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott. We're going to talk more NASCAR and preview it. We'll also hear from some drivers. But first, we'll go to break. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment. From 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
More dry weather, but beautiful weather on the way as we go throughout the rest of our work week. Plenty of sunshine, high temperatures in the upper 70s around the lake this afternoon, falling back into the upper 40s near 50 overnight, and a little closer to 80 as we get into our Wednesday. We do get a little bit of cooler weather on the way. We only drop back into the low to mid 70s for Thursday and into Friday, but an even bigger cool down on the way by the end of the weekend. That's your forecast from WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
cakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
The Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at southernChristmasShow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents the Live Under the Oaks season finale on Friday. This free outdoor concert series comes to a close with a Kids in America performance at 6 p.m. powered by Waves Entertainment. Grab your lawn chairs and your friends for the Live Under the Oaks season finale Friday night at Brookdale Village. Sunday is the annual Boo Fest at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville. Put on your Halloween costume and enjoy the party with a live concert by Alice Cooper tribute band Love It to Death. Ghostface will be serving up cold brews, their delicious kitchen will be open with a full menu, and Beer Lab will have mixed drinks. Spend Sunday at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville for the Boo Fest Halloween party. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals on the 6th of November through the 9th. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series for 4 days of action to decide their championships, featuring the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Single day and 4-day ticket packages and camping information are all available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. Often imitated, never duplicated. The World of Outlaws World Finals invade the Charlotte Motor Speedway Dirt Track in November. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
Folks, here at Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, we have got the brand new 2025 Chevrolet Traverse in stock, all redesigned from front to back, top to bottom, inside and out. Come see them today. We have got a great selection of these new Traverses ready for you to take home. And also, we got great discounts on our Silverado trucks. We got the regular cab, crew cab, double cabs, discounted up to $9,000 off. Great selection, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, right on I-40.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Final segment here on the Scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in today. 844-STUDIO-4. That is the phone number if you have something you want to talk about. The NBA season will be tipping off relatively soon, as today is the first day of games that count. The preseason is over. The defending champions will be taking on the New York Knicks at 7:30 later on tonight. That's not the only game in the NBA on their inaugural day of the season. Not ever, obviously. The Minnesota Timberwolves will be on the road visiting the LA Lakers. Obviously, the NBA had to put the Lakers on game 1 of the year, day 1 of the year. Are we expecting Bronny to Bron magic? Maybe. Could be interesting. Then tomorrow, the NBA really kicks off. We have a whole list of games here, including your Charlotte Hornets, as they will be on the road in Houston. I don't know what to expect from the Hornets this year, but don't get your hopes up, please. This is going to be the new mantra here for Charlotte sports. Just don't get your hopes up. Let's see how things go. And then maybe we can start to get excited. You can definitely be excited about Charlotte FC, as Charlotte FC is going to be in the playoffs for the MLS. And not only that, but they don't have to play in a wild card game, which means that their first game is going to be against Orlando City here on October 27th. That is 5 days from now. It is a best-of-3 series. Yeah, it's a best-of-3. So no matter what, Charlotte will get a playoff game. What? Did you just say Charlotte's getting a playoff game? I absolutely did. I'm excited for that. You know, we had Charlotte FC in the playoffs last year. They were the highest seed, or the lowest seed, I should say, last team in the Eastern Conference, and they end up losing to Columbus in the first game. And, we didn't really expect them to put together that much of a run as the last team to make the playoffs. But you get a taste of that playoff. Now, we're a good seed here. We're the 5 seed, so we're still lower than Orlando being the 4 seed. But we got a good program, got a good goalkeeper, some goal scorers on that team. I don't see why not. Why not us, right? Now you can get your hopes up for Charlotte FC. And that's the only one you should get your hopes up for. Because I'm telling you right now, the Panthers are going to be bad for years. I don't even know. Like, if you were the GM of this team, and maybe one day during the scoreboard, we have just a call-in show only about the Panthers, where I say, if you were the GM of this team, how would you even begin to fix it? Because I have no idea. Like, there are so many issues with this team, and I will say, we got a chance this weekend. Yeah, I know. The Panthers have a chance to win a game. They're going to be on the road, but it's going to be against the Broncos. Now, the Broncos are a little bit better than everybody expected them to be this year, but I still don't think that they're that much better than the Panthers. Are they a better team? Yes. But do I think that it's going to be a blowout like we saw against the Redskins? Absolutely not. No. That is not going to well, it could. Do I expect it? No. But you never know with this Panthers team. I want to know one thing, and that is, are we going to see Bryce Young again this year? Because I'm starting to get some opinions on this. We're going into week 8. We will have gone, I think, 6 weeks now after week 8. We've gone 5 weeks with Andy Dalton as our quarterback. Are we going to see Bryce Young again? If we don't, I'm starting to think that we've seen the last of Bryce Young as a starter. I mean, I'm just being truly honest with you. Why would we keep him out for this long? If the plan was for him to rest for a little, watch a little bit, maybe, and just maybe, after the Week 11 bye. But then if you do it after the Week 11 bye, you're throwing him in to play the Kansas City Chiefs, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL this year. Can you do it the week after against a division rival and the Buccaneers? Probably not. How about the Eagles? Probably don't want to do that either. So when are we going to see Bryce Young again? Are we going to has Bryce Young played his last day as a starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers? It is a question now, because we've gone 5 weeks with Andy Dalton as the quarterback and things haven't gotten better. We lost to the Falcons 38-20. Blown out by the Bears 36-10. An absolute blowout to the Commanders 40-7. That's just the last 3 weeks alone. This has not been a good football team. I don't know what's going to make it a good football team, but the injuries are not helping. Number one, losing your star defensive tackle, Derek Brown, not helping. And now we still have the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, but no Bryce Young. We were supposed to have some more weapons on offense this year. I don't know if you want to call them weapons just yet. Xavier Leggett's probably going to be a very good wide receiver in this league, but you got to give him a little bit of time to develop. The talent's not really there right now. The offensive line has played significantly better, but then they got hurt. I mean, where do you begin? A lot of people think you begin with the offensive line, and if that's true, they might not have that much more to rebuild on the offensive line before they can then go to the defensive line. And then after that, you go to your linebackers. Get some good linebackers. Then get some good defensive players. Then you round out the offense, because if you don't have a good defense, a good offense is going to do nothing for you. I do want to talk a little bit about some other games that happened in the NFL this weekend. It was a big week for a lot of teams. The Bills look like the team to beat besides the Chiefs, who are always the team to beat. It looks to me like the Bills could be the team to beat in the AFC. they're probably going to go play the Chiefs, obviously, in the AFC Championship game. But the Bengals, man, that's the team that I got my eye on. I had them pegged to win the Super Bowl this year. And they're 3-4. And they're not the team that I thought they were going to be this year. But they did beat the Browns, and unfortunately, quote unquote, for the Browns, they lost their starting quarterback, Deshaun Watson, to a torn Achilles. And I will say this, if you were watching that Browns-Bengals game, they showed one replay of Deshaun Watson trying to run. He gets the snap, he puts a foot back, and he tries to push off of it, and you can just see the Achilles snap. It was pretty gross. The video's out there if you want to go look it up. A really good game between the Packers and the Texans. The Packers come out victorious in that one. 5-2 on the year now are the Packers. Are people counting them in? I wouldn't count them out. The Lions beat the unbeaten Vikings on Sunday on the road to become the leader of the NFC North. I do think that the Lions right now are the team to beat in the NFC. I don't think the 49ers are going to be all that much trouble this year. They're having some injury problems. The team just isn't the same as it's been. The Buccaneers, I really don't see them doing much. Cardinal, like, who is the competition to the Lions in the NFC this year? Maybe it will end up being the Packers. We just talked about it. They beat the Texans. Maybe it'll be inside the division. You know, the Browns aren't bad. The Vikings, they're a really good team. Packers, like we just said, that's a division. The NFC North in general is really good this year. Like, really good this year. I just don't know who, and maybe you say the Commanders. Hey, the Commanders, maybe they're a team to beat in the NFC. Not yet. Let's pump the brakes on the Commanders. We got a rookie quarterback over there. It's the first year of them kind of coming out of the mud. But I would say that the Lions are going to be the team to beat this year in the NFC. AFC, I got it between the Chiefs and the Bills right now. My God. And I'll say, man, the Vikings are just so interesting. Having Sam Darnold as the quarterback, that wasn't even supposed to happen. It was going to be J.J. McCarthy, rookie out of Michigan. And guess what? He's out for the year. And now all of a sudden, the Vikings are a really good team. Not the Panthers. Panthers are not the team to beat in the NFC. They are technically they are the team to beat. Like, if you need to get your season back on track, I hope you got the Panthers scheduled. Anyway, that's what the NFL looked like from the weekend. We had two good games last night. Like I said, the Ravens beat the Buccaneers. The Cardinals beat the Chargers. The better game of the two being the Ravens-Buccaneers, in my opinion, even though that one was over faster. Chargers-Cardinals, man, that was like pulling teeth to watch. No, it really was. We're at the end of the program here today, and as we do every single day, we're going to go over some things that happened on this day in sports history. We don't have much time, so let's get right to it. On this day in 1966, Bobby Orr scored his first career goal versus the Montreal Canadiens. It was his first goal, just happened to be against the Canadiens. And a little bit more recently, let's see. On this day in 2020, the National Hockey League announced that the annual All-Star Game would be postponed to no earlier than 2022 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks, everyone, for tuning into the program today. I'll be here same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, have a good night, everyone.
Serving you better than ever before.